welcome to the Shiproom. You're on the air.
Oh my God, don't put that
in. Hey, welcome to the show. Today I am joined by one of the greatest technology journalists of our era, and the only person to make more announcements about Microsoft than Microsoft, Mary Jo Foley. It is so good to see you again.
You too, Brad.
What is like the most common thing that you're hearing right now of the recent Microsoft announcements? What is the thing that like your community said, wow, this was a surprise for us?
Well, I think you guys have been talking about the modern desktop for a while. I don't think it really clicked for people until fairly recently. I think people looked at it more as a buzzword. Like, oh yeah, modern desktop, whatever that means. It was more of an amorphous term that was kind of more of a marketing term, and now it's starting to become something that has some real impact. And when you guys did your reorg this year and brought everybody together under Rajesh, I think now your org reflects what you're doing in the product. But now that you're talking more in depth about what Microsoft 365 is, and what the value proposition of that is, I think it's starting to click for some people like, okay, I just thought they were shoving more products down my throat that I don't want. But then when you talk about how the integration of it and what the benefits are of using that versus standalone, just Windows 10 or just Office 365 or just EMS, I think it's starting to resonate with people like, oh, if I use all three together, I'm going to get a much different experience than if I just use one of these three things.
That $20, I promise you, if you'd say modern desktop there, we'll take care of that afterwards. So I want to show you something that my team's been working on. I'm going to give you a scoop.
Sweet.
Yeah, all right? Okay. All right, so check this out. This was a hackathon project. Every 3 or 4 months we do a hackathon. Let me try this on.
This isn't going to do anything.
No.
Like taser me or This is the MMD payback.
No, so when this is all fully connected and turned on, it actually behaves a lot like a lie detector.
All right, get this thing off me. He's going to ask me
so
my
let me just ask you
name.
a couple of questions real quickly, all right? Okay, let me get a baseline first of all. So do you live in New York City?
Yes, I do.
Next question. Did you actually get your nephew a job in the cafeteria to feed you information?
I did not. That's urban legend.
Give me an idea of the number of sources that you have about Microsoft. Is it 20?
No.
Is it 30?
No.
Is it more than 50?
Yes.
Is the last information that you heard about Microsoft before it was public, is that individual in the room right now? Okay, good to know. I'll keep him. Tell me more about how you think IT pros are going to use Windows desktops going forward.
Just the same way that people have some workloads that cannot go to the cloud and some that they have to have in the cloud. I think it's going to be the same thing. Some workloads are going to virtualize. Some they are still going to continue to run on-prem. And that's why Microsoft continues to roll out new versions of Windows, Windows Server, Office. I mean, there are people who have legitimate reasons and some not so legitimate reasons for keeping things out of the cloud. The biggest surprise to me on that announcement was Windows 7.
The fact that we were doing Windows 7 and the 3 years of support for free post the end of service.
I had to ask you that question like three times yesterday because I'm like, wait, so if somebody is virtualizing Windows 7, they don't have to buy the extended security updates.
That's right.
And you're like, yep, that's it. And I'm like, wait, can I ask you that again?
Yeah. But that's actually been one of the other interesting things. We talk about these fast track programs. Over the last year, I built out a fast track team that is helping organizations upgrade to Windows 10, and then more importantly, how they stay current.
Right.
You were talking about earlier about that challenge of how organizations take all the constant updates. That's going to be a big part of it.
I think that's a big benefit too of the Microsoft Managed Desktop, right? That I think is your biggest selling point on that. Is, okay, you're sick of trying to figure out how to do these feature updates. Let us do that for you.
What's the technology problem that you hear most about from your community, from your network, that has like the most solutions today that people don't realize?
We hear from IT pros and admins, like daily, I would say, that they just cannot keep up with the pace of feature updates.
That's true.
And I feel like, okay, I know it is much more rapid than it used to be. It used to be every 3 years you get a new version of Windows client or server. Now it's twice a year.
Yeah.
And I think I think it's called App Assure.
Yep.
That program you just announced, I think that's you guys putting your money where your mouth is, right?
Yeah.
You keep telling people the apps are compatible. Don't worry about it. It's gonna work even when you do the feature update. Yeah. And until you actually said, and if it doesn't, we'll make sure it does. Yeah. That I think that kind of took away one of the blockers for a lot of people, or at least a mental blocker.
I have to tell you, I'm super glad that you didn't hear about that one before we announced it.
Darn.
What's one big thing that you see on the kind of horizon of technology that really gets you excited?
The thing I'm really interested to see how it evolves, because Microsoft's dropped a few hints about this. What happens to phones? Because Alex Kipman, who runs the HoloLens, he's always like, oh, phones, that's so yesterday. I don't care about phones. There's more. There's something more coming that's not a phone that's going to surpass and replace phones. So I'm like, wow, does he mean the next version of HoloLens?
Yeah. Is that a subjective statement, or is that like,
right?
hinting to something?
Well, the part of me that makes me believe it might not be what we think of it as a phone is no one makes calls anymore.
I don't use my phone for a phone.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, we carry around this thing that can make calls, but we never use it for that. We use it as a camera. We use it as something to process data and read data. And I'm like, okay, so do we really need the phone part of the phone?
Yeah. Like of all the things I use my phone for, using it as a phone
is the
least.
Right. I know. All I get is spam calls anyways.
Okay, so you look back all this time covering technology. You've seen a lot of buzzwords, a lot of jargon. I want you to help me use all that expertise. And I'm gonna give you some cards here. We each are gonna take turns trying to use the words in a sentence.
Oh boy.
One of the bugs that I hate the most that we run into in the engineering team is when we have an app-based e-market trait regression. That's a horrible day.
I would hate that too. Uh-oh. One of my favorite buzzwords is in this one.
Okay.
Microsoft today introduced Solution-Based Cloud Process Inputs, also known as SCPI.
One of the most unique things that I think our CRM team has come up with is the unique dynamic, get the pun, chain methodology.
Sadly, that actually sounds like something they might say. Windows Server 2019 is best known for its hyperscale network portal metric tools, whatever that is.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have you here. So tell people the best way to follow you.
I write a blog called allaboutmicrosoft.com. Mm-hmm. And on Twitter, I am at Mary Jo Foley. And I'm very engaged on Twitter, so if you tweet to me, I probably will tweet back to you.
I can testify to that. Well, thank you, Mary Jo, for coming.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for watching. This is Brad Anderson with the Shiproom. We'll see you the next time.
Days I had a source who only would call me from a payphone. I could hear him putting change into the payphone. And I'm like, are you calling me from a payphone? He's like, yeah, all the phones are bugged. I can't call. And